Welcome to this week's video. Today, as you can see, we're on the jack stands. We are adding just a little bit of parts. I'm halfway through doing the install right now. Most of the parts have shown up. I'm missing a couple, but those are all the parts I'm adding to the car. So some of y'all can already know what's going on. Alright. I've already got it tore apart and it's already on. We are adding power steering. You'll get to see how I put it on or some of it. The brake. See it, but we have a bunch of stuff. This is tail shaft seal. This is a -6 line for the low pressure for the power steering. This is -6 high pressure. This is fittings for the power steering. This is going to be the power steering reservoir. It's actually a coolant overflow tank, but once I get the right the cap, it will do just fine. The end from the cooler and then down into the pump. Very simple. We have a wideband because mine crapped out. That's why I've been stuck on my it's 15 pounds of boost up until $5,000, and then I have it tapered to 12 psi at Redline, which is 8,200 right now. And that's because I want a flat power band. I probably gained like 20-30 horsepower from $5,000 to Redline, but I have a very flat power band, so it's very predictable in the toge, and that's why I did it. And it's a little safer to have 12 psi up there instead of the 15. But that was just supposed to be the break-in, make sure the timing is okay, and it like the 85 and all that jazz. And the O2 sensor crapped out. So we have the Bosch LSU 4.9 there. These are all the fittings for the power steering. This is just the low pressure side. I'll explain here in a minute, because some of you may know the rx-7 has 3 ports on the rack instead of your traditional 2, so you have to know which is which and what it's for and stuff like that. Anywho, in an old video I think I showed these. These are 8-inch fans for the intercooler over there. And then this is going to be another 6-inch fan that we're already using one of those on the oil cooler. And the old oil cooler from the blown engine I've got, and we're going to clean out, and we're going to install that onto there. We have wire loom, so we can wire everything and have it pretty and not like this. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the wires there, but it just doesn't look good. It needs to be shielded. And then finally we have all new relays. So 2 are intercooler fans, 2 are radiator fans, and these are the oil cooler and the power steering cooler. Here's new 80-watt fans. These are probably 6 years old, and that's before they sold everything 80 watt. So those are way weaker, and they were running single power, single ground, which weakens it even more. So everything's going to be on its own relay now, and we'll be able to go for long drives, because that we were just heat soaking. Granted, it's like a 90, 95 outside, but still I don't want to be heat soaking. If I can stand it inside the car, the engine should. But we've already got the 3 fittings. So these 2 are M12 by 1.5, and then this top one is M16 by 1.5. And your top and your bottom are your low pressure, and your middle is your high pressure. The bottom one actually was for like the back of the factory pump, for like referencing, I guess, to counter it at high speeds. I don't know the full explanation, but basically from what I've seen on YouTube, what we need to basically we need to tee the top one and the bottom one with the -6. From what I've seen, they were doing LS's. This is not nearly as big of a pump as the LS pump, so hopefully this is the only thing I need to do to get it to all work and not run too much pressure and pop the rack. But yeah, we'll see. But hope you enjoyed this week's video. Make sure to like and subscribe. So I got the riv nut kit in that I ordered, and I'm going to take it apart, or open it, and then you can see that hole right there. We're going to put a M8 riv nut in there, and then we'll make a 90-degree bracket, and then this will sit right there. Easy enough. Now it's on there. And just shove it in there. That needs to be adjusted. There it went. So one of the things I was doing while I was doing the power steering was fixing the leaks, right? Which is this leaking, and this block, one of the O-rings is pinched, and I don't know if you can see it. Nope, you can't. But there's oh, there you go. Right. See if I can't get there. When I remove my finger, you'll see a little shiny Allen. That's stripped. There's 4 Allens in there and one 10 millimeter. Apparently when I put it on outside the car, I put it on too tight. And when I went to take them off, all of them wanted to strip. I got 3 of them, 4th one stripped. So, gotta pull the engine. So freaking frustrating, but whatever. We'll just time lapse it and get it done. It's that or pull the head, and I'm not going to reuse the head gasket like we've gone through before, so it'd be $80 head gasket. So I've got to do the tail shaft seal as well. It'll be easier outside. If we pull the engine, we can clean everything again, so fuck it, we'll just pull the engine. Okay, got the drive shaft off. I went ahead and took all the wheels off because I need to bleed the brakes again. Let's see the tires. All good tread still. It's the tranny bracket I made. So that's a SR tranny mount. Same with those tabs. And what I did was I cut the tabs used to be right here, and I just cut them off. And I put a back plate on it, 1/8 inch thick steel. Drilled the holes, and so that's the factory FC tran mount location. I just put it up there, and then I bolted this to the VQ transmission, and then I just made these little plates and boxed it in, and it's held up to the blown VET, this VET, and the sr20 DET that I actually did the initial swap on. It's dirty because of the leaks, and again, that's why we're pulling the engine. You can see I went ahead, and the VET has a top mount intercooler, so it has these brackets. So I went ahead and bolted 2 brackets on, and we're going to put this strap on. And everything on the bottom's already taken out. All we have to do is break that motor mount loose, and that one, and then she'll come out. Alright, the engine is out. I've already took this off and reinstalled it. It was the O-ring for the high pressure line. So when I reinstalled it, I just pinched it just a little bit. So I had an extra O-ring, so I put it on there. We're all good. I bought some degreaser and I started spraying this down. It's already a lot cleaner. Same with the front. I degreased it a little bit. You can see how much it was leaking. You can see it on the floor. I've already cleaned it. But now we're on to all the cooling for all the fans. So remember, I bought new ones of those to replace those. I got this one for the power steering cooler, and then over there are the 8-inch for the oil cooler. And then we have all these relays to power all of it, so it's all safe. So I just started doing that because it's easier to get to everything. And these are the 3 power. It'll be we'll do oil, one of the radiator and one of the intercooler. That way if this whole thing goes out, then we still have one system going. And so they're all twisted. It's all power, so you don't have to worry about signal, but it allows them to be way more flexible. So it's just always a good thing to do that. So they're on a ring terminal, they're crimped, and then they're heat shrunk. And then we're gonna go ahead and take some of this out, and we're going to braid this onto it. And so that will be the power for these. And we're using Haltech to trigger all 6 fans. So I'm debating, I have a Elite 1500. I'm using a couple outputs, so I don't know if I have enough outputs to control like thermofan 1 and then thermofan 2 all on their own switches. So it'll probably just be radiator fan switch, intercooler fan switch, oil cooler fan switch, and then I'll probably put the power steering on something else. I don't have a temperature sensor for it, so we'll probably put it with the oil cooler because I need to wire in the temp sensor for the oil cooler as well. But anyway, you have power to the relay, and then you have the positive trigger, because Haltech and most standalones, when you're triggering especially fans and injectors, coils, stuff like that, they're all negative triggered. Coils not so much, depending on if it's dumb or intelligent, you know, what's up. But most of the time, if it's coming out of an ECU that doesn't have an igniter, it's negative. Anywho, so the relay, if you can see right here, you have a positive and negative trigger, which are those two, and then this is your in and this is your out. So we'll have the positive and the positive trigger always on, and then the negative trigger, which is the negative right here, will be triggered by the Haltech. So we need to do some wiring to that before we connect those to those. So this is where we finished last night on all the relay setups. We got the 3 triggers, because I just decided to do one trigger for the intercooler, one trigger for the radiator, then one trigger for the oil and power steering. We'll just trigger it with the oil temp sensor. So we got that, and then all we need is the power and ground to each fan. I was going to do Deutsch connectors, but I can't find any in town, and the 2-pin connectors I can find in town are like $10, and I need 6 of them, so it's like $60 before tax. I'm not going to do that. So for right now, we'll just do butt terminals, male and female, which is how they come from the factory anyway. I'll save up some money, get on eBay, and buy some Deutsch connectors. Then we'll fix all that and make it look way better. But we're gonna stop on that until we put the engine in. And now I've started on the oil temp sensor wiring that I need to do. So we went and robbed the pigtail off the old harness, and then we already spliced it and soldered it. And then as you can see, I've already twisted the wiring. This is one of the excess wires from my Haltech harness anyway, so it already has the pin. So we're already tooling. I just need to go ahead and put some loom on it, just like that. I've been working like all day. It's Saturday, coming to these next weekend. Trying to get this car ready to drive to St. Louis. The 5.5, 6 hour drive. So I'm trying to bust ass. So you can even tell in the video, I went ahead and cleaned the rack more. It's still not perfect when you get down there. It's still gross, but like besides putting it back on wheels and rolling it out, it's about the best I can do. So we cleaned that. We installed, that's the oil temp sensor. So we got it ran in the car. Just need to wire it to the Haltech. And then went ahead and cleaned the block on this side. Got the head all cleaned. Again, this is what was leaking, which threw oil everywhere. And then I bought a brand new starter, because if you remember, the whole thing started, the starter went out. I bought a brand new Circuit Sport one. A dude was selling it on eBay, but didn't have it. He was drop shipping it from Circuit Sport, but Circuit Sport doesn't have it. So I'm still waiting on that starter. It hasn't even shipped yet. So I went ahead and spent $100 on a used S14 starter. There's a couple of differences. I had to modify it a little bit. For this adapter plate, you have to drill out the holes on the SR starter anyway, which is fine. But the S14 has the guard on the inside is twice as deep, and I had to notch it in 2 places for my adapter plate. But went ahead and cleaned this side as well. So the engine is all clean. Went ahead and re-gasketed that, took out the metal one, just did Mega Gray. The metal one is awesome if you have it brand new, but on oil, they're one and done. Like I said, I even Mega Grayed both sides, then put it on. Still bad. Just, if you don't have it brand new, just Mega Gray. So, when I did the tensioner, I had to take the valve cover off real fast so I could pop the tensioner out and retime it basically. So I cleaned up the mounts, the tranny mount right there, and then we have the passenger engine mount. And I also, before it only bolted on here and here, I drilled a hole and I was able to get this one in there now too. These 4 holes were for the DET block, where the VET block is shorter and misses these 2 holes. But like I said, been working hard. I think the paint's dry enough, and I cleaned up my mess under there, so we can stab the engine. And then this is the last thing I painted. Like I said, I had to grind this part down a little bit for my swirl pot for the power steering. The wind was blowing, and it's not a professional powder coat or paint job, but it will do the trick. You guys won't even notice. So, put it on time lapse and shove this baby in here. Okay, so I'm really tired of having a dirty race car. There's no reason for it. When I had to daily it, I had to make it work. But now it's a race car, it shouldn't leak. Therefore, it shouldn't be dirty. So a couple things that was bothering me. You know, we spent all this time cleaning this, making this look good, and this looked like shit. So I took it off, I cleaned this. I lost the fuse down my wheels. I'll have to get it out. You can see I was messing with it up there, it fell down all those wheels. I'll have to get it in a minute. And then I finally got some loom. It was super hard to get it on there, but I got it under this now, and it's loomed. So that looks just night and day difference. And then I went ahead and took the extra time. And you can see I got up under there now. Got all the oil pan. You can see this is where that leak is coming from. Annoying. So we'll have to drain the oil and fix that. But it's all shiny, but it is as clean as I can get it. As far as under the car, it's still filthy. So what we're going to do is I'll either take it outside and use the hose out there, or we'll take it to a car wash, jack it up, and pressure wash it and purple power it. But I think I'm finally ready. Everything's clean. Got the wiring ready to go over there. We're gonna mess with some of this as well, like fix this part of the harness. And anyway, this is all clean. All right, ready to go. That's going to end it for this week's video. We're going to stop it right at the engine dropping. I'm already editing the next video, which will be the finished product, engine going in, FD St. Louis, and a local drift event on the old FD course at St. Louis. So make sure you subscribe so you can catch that video. And make sure to give a thumbs up if you like the video. As always, thank you, and see you later.